Hello, everyone. A vibrant, savvy crowd, a melting pot of thoughts, and an evening of inspiring quotes and anecdotes. Well, it's lit. It's awesome. Good evening. We at the Aditya Birla Group welcome all of you to this lit evening. LIT is an acronym for Leading, Inspiring, Thought Provoking, and is a platform where we, the emerging leaders at ABG, interact with the stalwarts of our world of opportunities on topics that matter to you. It is the most enlightening series of the year, with knowledge sharing sessions happening every alternate Thursday. It's an opportunity for you to learn, grow, and prosper from our leaders' experience, and for us as an organization to give back to the talent communities in B schools, engineering colleges, and the people who have joined through our social media channels. I'd like to introduce my co-moderator, Mr. Senthil Nath. Senthil is a member of the second batch of the coveted Global Manufacturing Leadership Program at Aditya Birla Group. GMLP is an exclusive and premium leadership program of ABG for selection and accelerated development of middle and senior level talent to enable them to become leaders in manufacturing. A seasoned, astute, and well rounded professional with over 20 years of experience, he is currently the joint president and head of aluminum smelter at our Hindalco's Mahan Aluminium. He always boosts and empowers the team for continuous learning so as to be connected to latest technology and grow in their careers. Senthil has been with the group since 2014 and is the recipient of the prestigious Chairman's Exceptional Contributor Award at the ABG Awards. Prior to joining Aditya Birla Group, he has worked with Malco and Balco Vedanta. He is an alumnus of the College of Engineering, Salem. I think, Senthil, your voice isn't audible. Your microphone.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Hope I am audible now.
Yeah.
So let me introduce my co-moderator, Anurag Bagha. Anurag Bagha is a member of the current batch of the Aditya Birla Group Leadership Program. ABGLP is an aspirational leadership development program for entry-level professionals through which Aditya Birla Group hires and grooms young, vibrant, and versatile talent to develop into the future leaders of tomorrow through a variety of exposures and experiences. He joined recently, completing his summer stint with Aditya Birla Capital last year. He now works with the group data cell and analytics team at ABM CPL and helps us bring a fresh light to defining strategy and product development for ABG business. He is an alumnus of Faculty of Management Studies and NSIT Delhi. Now it's a pleasure to welcome all of you to the inaugural session on The Game Has Changed, Crafting a Career in the New Normal. We have leaders for the day, Mr. Thomas Verghese and Mr. Vishal Kumar. So to start, let me introduce Mr. Thomas Verghese to all the audience over here. Mr. Thomas Verghese is the business head of domestic textiles, overseas spinning, and acrylic fiber business of the Aditya Birla Group textile businesses. It comprises of 3 companies in domestic textiles, 7 companies in overseas spinning, including Spinraj Lamberto Yempa, our latest acquisition in Germany and Slovakia, and 2 companies in acrylic fiber businesses. Mr. Verghese has been with Aditya Birla Group for the last 21 years, holding multiple positions across businesses. He joined Grasim Industries in 1999 as Chief Marketing Officer for Grasim's Pulp and Fiber business and has been instrumental in leading his team to assume a leadership position in the global VSF scenario. In 2004, he moved to head the large manufacturing complex of pulp and fiber at Harigar in Karnataka. He was also instrumental in VSF's first M&A in China in 2006. In mid-2007, he moved as business head of the pulp operations in Aditya Birla Group, looking after the 5 units with Grasim Industries Limited, Kumarapatnam, ABSL Canada, AV Navachek Canada, and Birla Lau Pulp and Plantation Company Limited, Lau PDR. He was instrumental in the Lau plantation for the pulp and fiber business. His last assignment was as MD and CEO of Aditya Birla Retail Limited. As business head of Aditya Birla Retail, he oversaw the growth of all formats across India. ABRL has emerged as one of India's foremost supermarket and hypermarket retailer. He has been the chairman of the CAI National Committee on Retail for 3 years from 2009 to 11 and also a member of the Service Council of CAI. He is also a member of the Coca-Cola Retail Research Council for Eurasia and Africa. He has been the chairman of the CAI National Committee on Marketing for 3 years from 2012 to 14 and again in 2015 and 15 to 16. He was the chairman of CII National Committee on Textiles in 2014 to 15. He is the current co-chair of the Water Cluster Board for the World Business Council for Sustainable Development. He is also a recipient of the Images Coca-Cola Golden Spoon Award for the Most Admired Retailer in India, Food and Grocery 2010. He was also awarded the Images Award for India's Most Admired Retail Professional of the Year at IRF 2010. In 2012, in February 2012, he was conferred the CEO of the Year by Asian Retail Congress at Mumbai. An engineering graduate from IIT Delhi and an AMP Harvard alumni, he is the recipient of the Distinguished Alumnus Award of the Indian Institute of Technology, New Delhi in 2000. He is also a recipient of the coveted Aditya Birla Group Award of Outstanding Business Leader in 2004. Adding to the feather in this crown, he is also an ICAS certified coach. So welcome, Mr. Thomas Verghese, to this discussion. Over to Anurag.
Thank you, Senthil. Our second leader today, Vishak Kumar, is the CEO of Madura Fashion and Lifestyle, a business unit of Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail Limited. Vishak has been with the company since 1995 when he joined the Madura business as a management trainee. During his 25-year-long stint, Vishak has worked across functions and occupied various roles in sales, marketing, and retail. Prior to his stint as CEO of Madura, Vishak was the CEO of Aditya Birla Retail Limited, where he was instrumental in transforming the More supermarket and a hypermarket business. Vishak has won multiple accolades for his stellar contribution to the fashion and retail industry. Within the ABG umbrella, in 2014, Vishak received the Aditya Birla Group Chairman's Award for Outstanding Leader for his exceptional contribution to the business. In 2015, ABG conferred him with the prestigious Aditya Birla Fellow title. Vishak is an IIM Bangalore alumnus and a computer engineer from Birla Institute of Technology, Ranchi. A keen sports person, he enjoys playing squash, badminton, and tennis. Thank you, both of you, sirs, for being with us today. Before we get started, I would like to tell the audience to feel free to share your appreciation through the emoticons and comments. Leave your questions in the Ask a Question pane to the right-hand side corner. We would be taking these up towards the end of our discussion. So let's get started without further ado. My first question would be to Mr. Verghese. What do you think defines the term career in the new normal? How do you think it is different from the way we have defined career all this while? Thomas,
Thomas, we can't hear you.
You are on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. Thank you, Anurag, and please call me Thomas. Okay.
Sure.
Everyone does. Given that the world is going through probably an exceptional black swan event, the old definitions of what is career probably do not hold true anymore. However, traditional parameters like productivity, communication skills, teamwork may need to be redefined to reconsider the post-COVID world that has changed our ways of working completely. The key parameter, however, is to measure success in career still remains the same, though it is always going to be predicated around the ability to deliver results. As long as you're able to deliver your full performance, in light of all the challenges being thrown at you, you will continue to excel in your career. So that's something which is not going to really dramatically change in terms of what the new career means. But the means and the ways to get there will be radically different in the years to come. Thanks.
So do you believe that COVID is the only factor, and such a scenario right now is the only factor which has changed the way we define how careers will progress, or is there a basic technological change and a change in the skill sets that people need to acquire that would define how to build a successful career? Vishak, you can also answer the same question.
So let me just continue where I left off. No, it's not necessarily COVID. What COVID has done, it has accelerated the movement towards two very significant differential ways of working. I was just reading a report from McKinsey, and it is said that the use of digitization and automation and the use of artificial intelligence probably has got accelerated in the last 5-6 months, much more than what has happened in the last decade or so. So the COVID has accelerated some of these changes. However, many of the changes, particularly the change of digitization, etc., were well on their way of being implemented by different businesses, different industries. Some industries much more than the others. For instance, you'll see financial services. They've been using, and they will continue to use, and in fact, will be the greatest beneficiary of some of the digitization moves, particularly in view of the way you will need to do business without physical proximity. So some of these things are well on their way. COVID has just accelerated it. That's it.
Yeah.
Vishak, you can add something if you want.
Absolutely. I think, like Thomas said, at some level, nothing has changed. Okay. A career is much more than a job. It's a series of roles, assignments, which makes your overall focus in your career. It builds on something. That doesn't change. The methods of doing that have changed. Anurag, when we were in campus, a good career was, let's say, in an FMCG company where you had to go through rural sales, you had to go through brand retailing, you had to go through various such things to be able to become good to run brand, to run marketing, and so on. So that was a sort of a stepping stone to be able to move there. Or even in retail, 10 years back, you had to start by running a store. If you knew how to run a store, you were good at retail, then you scaled up and so on. We wouldn't take anybody in our leadership in the food and grocery business unless they had run a hypermarket or had run a chain of supermarkets and so on. Today, like Thomas said, the basic building block is digital. And the ability of anybody, any of us, to very quickly to become a digital native is a critical component of career success. Further, I think one more thing which has changed, and like Thomas said, it has accelerated, COVID has accelerated it, is the sheer amount of uncertainty which is there in work life. And ability in good careers will now depend on how well you handle this uncertainty. Another level, what's also happened is completely chaotic blend of personal and work life. When you're working from home, when maybe somebody's baby is crying, you also got to do the dishes, by the way, and you got to come back for your next board meeting, and you got to. I think it's also changed dramatically the whole notion of how do you deal with your personal and. With all this said, I think the stepping stones are still the same. You still need to get into the right assignments to be able to build a strong career. That has not changed.
Okay. So what I could gather was the basic qualities are the same, but how people are perceiving their careers right now in this new generation is unlike what it was 25 years ago when you joined. So you've been with Aditya Birla Group for the past 25 years, but right now people always see that if you're stuck at a job for more than 3 years, more than 5 years, you're not progressing. So their aim, even when defining careers, when I was in college, people define careers, I'll stay for 3 years in this firm, then I'll switch to this sector, then I'll switch to this sector, and hence my long-term goal will be achieved. So that has changed. What are your views on that?
No, I agree. You should never be in a same job for more than 36 months, 30 months. Fully agree. Neither have I been. Okay, Anurag, I have not been on any role. My average tenure in a role has been about 30 months. Okay, and I would define all of this with very simple 3 filters for anybody who is just joining workforce right now. Am I learning? Am I enjoying? Am I contributing? Okay, in every role, I must be able to learn something new. Every day must be an enriching day. I must learn something new. Every day I must enjoy. I must have a ball. Okay, I'm having a ball right now. Okay, and I must contribute. So these are the 3 things which are a prerequisite. I must have done in my career of 25 years at least 13, 14 roles. Okay, and across businesses, segments, functions, and so on. So fully agree with you. It's just that you don't necessarily need to change your employer to be able to do that.
In fact, I think that's what is possible at Earthabilla Group under the management program that we have, that we can switch our roles, we can move into new sectors, but for a non-conglomerate, it might not be that simple just to stay
Possible.
put.
So let me chip in, Anurag. One is the gap in aspiration has actually never been more evident than what it is with Gen Y nowadays. They come in with great amount of enthusiasm, and they are more connected with the world than all the previous generations, thanks to technology. And their expectations from their employers are very different. What used to be aspirational a decade ago is the norm today. And of course, the younger generation are used to instant gratification. But I'm just going to sort of supplement what Vishak said. I have had, mine is a 39-year-old career now. And I've had, of course, unlike Vishak, I've had a couple of job changes. But I will talk about my journey in ABG. 21 years, now 22 years going on. And I've been fortunate that possibly I must be, and there are probably two people in the group who have worked in more businesses, probably nobody else other than Ratan Shah and me, who have worked in number of businesses and number of roles in those businesses. So in fact, Vishak has said very correctly, and I think that resonates very well with me. I think you must enjoy what you do, number one. Number two, you must continue to learn. And I used to define my job as that every day when I go to work, what have I learned today? Something new. And most importantly, reflect at the end of the day as to what did you contribute. You're not just there to learn, because you've got to hit the feet running in most of our roles now in the group. What have you contributed? So I think he's put it very nicely that, are you enjoying your work? Is there passion? Is it in line with your passion? Are you learning every day something? And believe me, we learn from everyone. It doesn't matter who the person is, what level he is. You learn from everyone. Both Vishak and I probably have learned much more than the salespeople and the operating floor people in a retail store, and from customers. Much more than we have learned from our bosses sometimes. So I think, what are you learning? How are you using that learning to good use and contributing to the organization, contributing to your business, contributing to your vision? And in this process, are you creating excitement and engagement around your people? At the end of the day, I'm a great believer that the best organizations in the world are, and the most high performance organizations are where the employees are continuously engaged. And I think that is what really makes the difference. So I think,
Absolutely.
I completely concur with what he said.
Absolutely true.
Yeah, so Vishak, it was very nice to hear some wonderful words with your own experience of 3 plus 2 decades from Thomas and Vishak. Vishak, how would you think networking and building relationships, essential tools for career enrichment on today, can change according to you in this new normal?
Two things. First of all, calling it networking makes it a little transactional. I would say that building relationships, meaningful relationships with various people across industries, across various parts of value chain is always very important, will continue to be so. I think none of us can by ourselves do enough to make a difference. You need a network of people, and the relationships that you have with that network of people is critical. The second, I think, some of the technology that we are going through today is changing the dynamics of that. I was in China this morning. I was in a meeting with a Bombay customer this afternoon, and after this, I'm on a head office discussion in Bangalore, right? And I'm doing this. I don't think this was possible even 6 months back, while technologically it might have been possible, I think mindset-wise, some of these things have changed. We'll have to get used to it. We'll have to, the number of times that, let's say, the Shopper Stop CEO or the Lifestyle CEO and I talk now has changed so much, or between me and the Myntra leadership or Flipkart leadership, it's changed dramatically. I think it's going to be critical. Building collaborations, building ways of working together. It's going to be absolutely crucial to success. And this, by the way, is not just when you are in senior roles. It is right from the beginning of your career. It really helps if you have a comfort level with the person that you're dealing with, and you have a certain amount of trust that has been established.
Thomas, we want to delve into your variable and deep professional experience. What new skills, perspectives, and mindsets enable people to build a successful career? And at the same time, what are the pitfalls that one should avoid, especially in this new normal?
Thank you, Senthil. Customers who are principal stakeholders in customer centricity, no matter what changes happens around the world, there will be only one rule that will govern successful businesses, that the customer is king or queen, to be politically correct. Productivity-oriented mindset for which you need to be comfortable with digital tools and automation are going to be critical skill sets in the new norm. Resilience at work. Do not be thrown off by challenges. Rather, we overcome them with grit. And this is the time you're going to be faced with all kinds of challenges being thrown at you. This not only requires extreme perseverance, but will often include the need to have extreme flexibility. So you have to be agile, you have to be flexible, and you have to be persevering. And networking, maybe not the best word, and maybe, as Vishak said, more collaboration. As the world moves from real life to social media, networking has also changed its shape. Making sure that you're always well represented in your personal and professional life, and connecting with people not only for momentary benefits, but to make meaningful relationships with them is another skill whose importance cannot be overstated at this stage. And this is what I think Vishak alluded to when he said about partnerships, whether for him it is a partnership with a supplier or with a customer or with a fellow retail chain who's probably a competitor, but you have to be operating in the larger ecosystem. So, Senthil, these are the skills that I think would define, what is really critical in the way going forward. Your second question that you asked, which is, around what are the pitfalls to avoid in your career, if I heard you right?
Yeah, you're right.
In this new normal, looking at your career as a sprint and not as a marathon is probably the pitfall that you should avoid. You must remember that life is a marathon. Whether I spent 39 years in 3-4 companies and Vishak spent 25 years in one company, just shows the whole ability to look at life as a marathon and not as a sprint. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? This is a question that people ask you in an interview. Many of you will relate to this because I've been often asked this, not so often because now I've been with one company and nobody's interviewed me, right, for a long time. And reflect and ask yourself this question every now and then and pivot your career accordingly. This is what Vishak has done when he said every 30 months or 36 months, he's been able to pivot. And this we do as a pivot because we are all restless souls. I'm a restless soul. I would go to Mr. Birla and keep bugging him to say, boss, I need a new role. I need to do something else. And I think it was his great degree of affection that he actually always gave me different roles to do. And I'm really eternally in his debt because it has taught me so much. Then when you see there is ambiguity and uncertainty in the world, but that's no reason to make bad decisions. And this uncertainty and this ambiguity, or what you call the VUCA world, is the new normal today. And believe me, it is terrible, because some people come to you and say, make a plan for 5 years. And I laugh to myself, saying that, probably I can't make a plan for the next 2 months. Forget about for the next 5 years. That's how bad the world is. So keeping a cool head when making decisions about your career is very, very critical. Every decision has its pros and cons. And especially when it concerns role changes or such movements in your career, make sure you're doing it all for the right reasons. And Anurag, you talked about the world of opportunity. I happened to chair the task force which brought in the 2x2x2 in the group. And I really understood that, because I understood that while we talked about a world of opportunities for decades, people did not feel it. But now in the last 4-5 years, people feel it, because we have made it happen for people. People actually experience those changes. And there's so many other incentives and initiatives and movements in the group which make it possible for you to move across businesses, within businesses, across functions, and make the world of opportunity happen. So look for an organization which is flexible. Look for organizations where such kind of movements can happen internally for you, so that you don't necessarily have to keep skipping jobs. So these are both, from a pitfall point of view, Senthil, that I can add.
Let me add that, Senthil, for you. Yeah. Especially on the pitfalls, so I think Thomas has very beautifully articulated what you need. Let me give some time to the pitfalls one must avoid. The biggest pitfall I would advise to anybody is peer pressure. Okay, the amount of bad decisions which get taken because of peer pressure is huge. And day one company is one kind of peer pressure, or day zero company is another kind of peer pressure. Or, oh, he got there, I didn't get, his package is so much, mine is this. For God's sake, do not get into peer pressure. The second thing I would say is avoid FOMO, or the fear of missing out. Okay, so many decisions get taken in this fear of missing out. Again, I would say, for God's sake, believe in yourself, enjoy the journey. There is no point in having a difficult journey just to get to some end destination. Enjoy every day of work life. Okay. Ask Thomas, would he like to drop everything and be a management trainee once again and start? At least I would say yes, and I'm sure Thomas would say yes too. So enjoy the journey. Enjoy every day of your career. Enjoy that. And if you're not enjoying the ride, change the ride. Okay, but every day has to be a pleasure and has to be full of exciting challenges that you work on.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
So after listening to Thomas and Vishak, I really feel today too lucky to be in the group, because I also fall into your play, because this is my third profile in the last 6 years. So I hope I'm also falling in less than 36 months. I'm also changing my job.
So
anyway, I must just add to what Vishak said. I was a management trainee, what we call senior management trainee, with one of the best groups in the country at that time. It used to be called the DCM Group, and their SMT scheme is probably legendary. It's the first company in India to start senior management training, and that too before the IIMs were set up. And it was one of the greatest learnings of my life, the 2-year grilling and the classroom sessions and the on-the-job projects. And yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think probably it made me what I am today. So yes, definitely loved that stint.
That's really great, sir. Thomas. We actually have a few questions from our audience. And I'll first ask Thomas to answer this. So we have Sagar Kulkarni from BITS Pilani, who's asked this. Since he's a mechanical engineer, so he's asking specific to manufacturing, and maybe both of you can answer this. But how to select or proceed further for the career when manpower is required more, and avoid where technology is kind of disrupting the sector, but then when you are in a manufacturing sector, when you are a mechanical engineer, how to go forward with that, and should they go forward with that in the first place?
Yeah, so I'll take that question since it's addressed to me, and of course, Vishak can always chip in. I've spent my life in manufacturing, with the 5 years in retail as an aberration, but a wonderful aberration. First and foremost, we must understand that today technology is almost all-embracing in terms of manufacturing, and most of the progressive companies have technology as a backbone. And this is, we are not only talking of product technology, we are talking of technology in terms of process management. We are talking of technology in terms of using Internet of Things in able to better manage your plant processes, reduce rework, reduce defects, improve quality. So technology is now all embracing. And when you look at technology, which is being currently used in supply chain management, so, we say the last mile is the most important for the customer. And therefore, technology comes into play there too, even if you're a manufacturing concern, because you have to deliver on time in full to your customers. So, career choices should be basically made on the basis of what kind of group are you joining, what is their thinking in terms of technology, what is their progressive vision in terms of how technology, automation, digitization all can positively impact the business in the long term, and have the capability to move in that direction. And most importantly, see that technology is about, many times, technology does not only lead to disruption, it also leads to a lot of displacement. And how do we continuously reskill our teams, ensure that we have a learning environment, a learning and a development environment where people are constantly upgrading their skills to be in touch with the new normal, whatever the new normal will be technologically. So I don't think these choices are very difficult. I think it is a question of being able to look at an organization and understand what makes it tick, what is its culture, and what is the leadership profile in terms of being able to take the organization forward. I think these things are important when you look at choices in a manufacturing career. Thanks.
Okay. Vishak, we have another question. This was very specific to you. Considering the new habits and the new normal, how is
Who's asking this?
I don't have the name.
That's okay. Okay.
So, considering the new habits as a new normal, how is the lifestyle business looking at future goals, provided that the demand for lifestyle products will be in jeopardy in case of the digital world? People are not going out. They may not need that many, I guess, clothes or any other lifestyle product for that matter. So, how would that?
First of all, man is a social animal. Okay, we have a pandemic which requires social distancing, and I think it's a temporary phase. But essentially, man is a social animal. All right. Each one of us is, in that sense, raring to go. Some of us have already started going out. Government is also easing a lot of lockdown restrictions and so on. I think as a good lifestyle organization, as a bunch of brands, what is very important is that our clothes reflect the mood of the nation, of the customer base. For example, Anurag, we are the largest manufacturer and seller of masks in this country, right? And they are great quality masks. They really protect. If only everybody would wear them. By the way, they are antiviral and they give droplet protection as well. I might as well plug some business. But I'm good. Okay. We didn't know how to make masks 8 months back, 6 months back. We learned this because there was a need in the country. A consumer, and we are selling masks in the UK, we are selling masks in the Middle East, and so on. Consumers move towards more comfort clothing. Okay, we created very strong athleisure lines, work from home lines. We have an amazing line of work from home stuff. Consumers moved to more functional garments, things which protected them from, let's say, viruses. We created a line in collaboration with a Swiss company, a line of antiviral garments where the virus doesn't stick to your clothes. Okay, so I think what is important is how quickly do you adapt. Okay, uh, there was a time, for example, we used to sell a lot of ties. Okay, today the tie doesn't exist almost except for weddings, but that's fine. We evolved into pocket squares, we evolved into other lines of clothing, and so on. There was a time when suits were made of wool. Today they are knitted, they are made of cotton, and so on. As fashion players, brands like Louis Philippe, Van Heusen, Allen Solly, they're constantly adapting to be able to give consumers a little ahead of the times.
So being dynamic and never letting a crisis go to
All the
waste.
time. I don't know if we want a crisis like this, but yeah, once
Yeah,
you
well,
adapt something like this, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
of course, we do not want such a crisis again.
Yeah.
So,
Vishak,
Hmm.
yeah, there's a question for you, Vishak, again. This is
Yes, Anil.
I am Raipur. Is job rotation within the same company also be preferable?
Is job rotation within the same company?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't get the name of the person who's asking this, but dear friend from IIM Raipur, here's what I would say. First of all, make sure you join a company which can give you a career and not just a job. Okay, whichever company that might be. Second, make sure that the value systems of that company matches with your personal value systems. Okay, so it's very important that if you have a certain value system, join a company which gives you that value system. Third, after that, make sure that you're doing roles that you enjoy doing, where there is enough learning as well. Once you do that, and there is literally a world of opportunities which is there in of course, I would say this for Aditya Birla Group, but I might be plugging my company. And there are a few other good companies as well, where you could have amazing career growths by just going through multiple roles and multiple business segments as well. In one career lifetime, say 30, 35, 40 years, there is only so many roles you can do. You can do 15, 20 roles maybe. So there's only so much you can do. And there is enough that, let's say, a company like ABG would offer for that. I'm sure there are a few other companies also which offer that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thomas, that's a question for you from Shusmita from XIMB. Will this acceleration in automation affect the kind of roles people will change? How should students move ahead planning their learnings to be job ready?
I think it's a very good question from the person from XIMB. I think one of the trends that is very clearly evident now is the fact that the kind of roles that people were playing may undergo dramatic shifts. And as I was saying, there's a McKinsey report, very recent report, which shows that almost 70 to 80% of the respondents, and this was a global study of CEOs and CXOs, shows that they feel that the jobs are going to dramatically change because of automation, because of artificial intelligence, because of digitization. And definitely, anyone aspiring for these roles will have to ensure that they are job ready by ensuring you have appropriate skills. And we have to, as business leaders, we have to ensure that our existing teams are made ready for these through internal learning and development initiatives. So I think one of the great movements I've seen in ABG in the last, let's say, 6 to 8 months is a huge focus around the L&D initiatives. And I'm really proud to say that in the period of the pandemic, when practically everyone is operating from home, the focus towards L&D has never been as much as I've seen it in the last 6 to 8 months. And fortunately, my businesses have excelled in this. They have taken to learning and development. They've taken to doing a lot of online courses to reskill themselves and get themselves job ready for whatever the world has to throw to them at them in the coming months. So yes, the answer to that question is definitely that. Secondly, I think it's also very important to understand that you must pay attention to your teammates. And much as it is important to ensure that you also, with your superiors who are your stakeholders, you align to see that your actions are in line with what is the business goals. And thirdly, it is very important, if you have people working under you, with you, to know what drives them. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you can motivate and engage a team only if you know, you have the insights on what drives them. And it is, a career is to be looked at holistically, not only benefit for you, but for benefit of those around you. It's your larger community. And I think this is going to be a major shift and change that we are going to see in the coming years.
All right.
So Thomas and Vishak, we are already running out of time, and we know that you have a busy schedule after that. So we just like to listen from both of you. What's just some single message to all the audience over here who is in this platform?
Thomas, you want to go first?
Yeah, thank you, Vishak. Thanks. Well, they phrased it as young guns. So I'm talking about cowboys and cowgirls, I guess. My first advice to you is keep learning. You come from excellent academic backgrounds, but learning is a lifelong process. And use your learning to further the interests of your business and your personal development. The more you contribute to your company, the more you are contributing to your own career. This is something very, very important. Secondly, have a point of view and express it fearlessly. Businesses today are increasingly being led by younger people, and you must develop the skill of having your point of view and expressing it fearlessly. Do not worry about how silly or small your point of view may be. You must get into an early habit of expressing yourself, which will be valued as you grow and will also give you confidence to take bold decisions in your professional career. And thirdly, what I would say, and this is something I'd like to leave with all of you, many of you may be in touch with me on LinkedIn. I would request you to go to my YouTube site and check on a video on the purpose of life. I have defined what is the purpose of life and what success really means. It's a very different take from what you're hearing from me and Vishak today. But I sincerely believe in that. And the three things that I would leave for all of you to think about is really, and I call these my mantras. Practice these three things. Mindfulness, firstly. Secondly, active listening. We are very poor listeners. And the more you practice active listening, the more you will understand an issue and be able to contribute to it. And lastly, learn to suspend judgment. I would urge all of you to go and watch that video of mine in which I really defined what is mindfulness, what is active listening, and what is suspending judgment. I sincerely believe that the practice of these three, consciously from the beginning of your careers, will make you better human beings, will make you better leaders, and will surely guarantee you success as I envision it in my own life. That it's really not about power, it's not about position, it is about how many lives you have touched in your career. And to me, that is the measure of success. That what have you given back in terms of learning for what you have acquired over decades of toil, and how you can share it with others and make sure that they benefit from it. There's another very interesting video on the YouTube channel. It's my leadership musings of my experiences over the last 39 years. Go and watch it. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, and hopefully you'll take something back from it. Thank you.
Thanks, Thomas. Okay. I think let me look at it from a slightly different perspective. Considering that most of your audience today is from campuses. My advice to anybody who's in a campus is use this time for reflection and figuring out what is that you want to do in your life, figuring out your life goal. Once you've got a life goal, your career goal has to be a subset of your life goal. Okay. If your career goal is different from your life, like let's say a role which limits you to one town. If your life goal is to make, if your life goal is to make lots of money, or if your life goal is to run a business, if your life goal is to, so make sure that your life goal and your career goal are aligned. My second advice would be also do a lot of research on the kind of companies that you want to work for. It's important because many a times we get swayed by brand names, consumer brand names, and so on, peer pressure, FOMO. Research the kind of company you want to work for. Talk to people who work there. Talk to ex-employees. Talk to customers. Talk. It's important that you research your target companies very well. The third final advice is there is no taking away from this. As this wise man said, you need a PhD. The PhD is basically passion, hard work, and discipline. So with everything else in your armor, bring in passion, hard work, and discipline in anything you do, and you are reasonably assured of doing well in your career. I'll end with that, Anwar.
Thank you both of you for your enlightening words. I'm sorry, apologies that we could not take more questions from the audience, but we have more sessions ahead, and they can definitely participate in that. And now we hope you all enjoyed this session, and we look forward to meeting you for our next one on October 15th. Stay tuned to our social media handles on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram to stay updated. You can see the links in the chat window. And with that, we would like to thank both of you and thank the audience who joined us.
Thank you, Anurag, and thank you, Senthil, and thank you, Vishak. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Vishak.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks to everybody
Thank
who
you all
watched.
the people who are viewing this. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks to all.